in Stonkmerica. This is a community of people who have plans. Plans make life a lot better. We plan, of course, to take over the world through learning self-reliance skills, becoming excellent professional traders. That is what we do here. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Be sure to hit that like button. And if you are new to the channel, or indeed watching this at a later date, just know that this is an education and technical analysis morning financial news show for you, and we try and keep everybody well informed as to what's going on in the world. Good morning. Hope you're all really looking forward to it. Hi. So in today's show, we're going to be looking at a lot of good stuff. We've got financial news coming up at the top of the hour. Good morning, America. It is, of course, approximately 8:30 a.m. It's 8:30 a.m. approximately. I need to turn this music down. Gosh, I like having the music loud, so I do. Yes, so it's 34 minutes past the hour at the minute, and just introducing what we're doing here on the show today. We'll be looking at all the stocks that we normally like to look at, and I've got another one that I'm going to bring up today, which I think might be an interesting stock to take a look at for a couple of reasons. It's got a female CEO, and that's something that I thought would be cool to celebrate. Oh, I'm a bit quiet. Whoa, that's better. So yeah, we'll be talking about a lot of things today. We've got like all the financial analysis that we normally like to do. We'll be looking at news. We'll be looking at a stock that I think is maybe a decent enough opportunity at the minute, which has got a female CEO. A female CEO in charge of the company and is looking decent, something that might be interesting to people. So that's something that we'll cover. Good to see you, Ben. Good to see you, Sasha. Good to see you, Master Bilbo. On Friday, we did a slightly different type of show. I tried to make it accessible. Let's see if we can replicate that a little bit today. Learn some lessons. I turned the music down. I'm going to turn the music back up now. Try to learn from that. It's hard to get the levels quite right so that you can hear me and the music. I think that's maybe about right for everybody. Let me know. Mick is muffled. Oh my god, it's muffled. Hopefully, yay, it's better. Yay! Wenambo. Sal, good to see you. Very good morning. And by the way, just a big shout out to everybody that puts chapter titles into the videos. Sal's done a couple. So is Anne Lewis. There's other people, of course, as well that have done them in the past. That really helps each other. It's massively helpful to people who come along later and look for, and just they want to see something in a video. There's probably something great in there for them. So it's really, 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 really great when people do that sort of stuff. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that does that. Thank you. What a beautiful day, says TradeSpotting. Absolutely. Hope you feeling good after your birthday weekend, bro. So, first off, AMC, what did we talk about on Friday? Talked about a pattern. We talked about a measured move. And we talked about how to play a breakout. And between these three concepts, we have actually witnessed all of them kind of coming into play over the last wee while. So we've got people aiming up for the measured move towards $56. That's more than 10% up from where the prices managed to actually close on Friday. And there also we had the measured move. That's the measured move that we're talking about. That's off the back of the pattern, which was a rising wedge pattern. And we had a discussion during it about how to play the breakout. And how you retest things, etc. Now, I understand that when you're looking at technical analysis for the first time, or if you're fairly new to it, not necessarily the first time, but if you've just been at it for, let's say, less than a few years, that looking at a chart can be quite daunting and difficult to understand what exactly is the process that we go through here. So I thought hopefully today I can make it the most accessible I can for everybody watching, so that as we go through the week I can kind of relax back into how I normally do things, and then take it again, hopefully again from next Monday. This is kind of how I'm thinking at the minute, at being kind of accessible and build through the week again, hopefully to get a base level of understanding amongst everybody. We'll also be talking about things like the fundamentals of trading, the fundamentals of technical analysis, not fundamentals in terms of, you know, earnings ratios and stuff like that on a company, but fundamentals in terms of analysis, what you need to know. We're talking about that as well throughout the show and trying to keep things nice and accessible. Perfect music levels. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Veronica. Wonderful, 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 wonderful people out there. Everybody's really fantastic. Ambo, this early? Bullish. Thank you so much for hitting the like button, Space Monkey. YouTube really appreciates it, as do I. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, I'm Not a Cat. Thank you, Master Bilbo, for all doing the same thing right there now as well. Really appreciated. Just want to keep this really, 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 really accessible. So a lot of people, when they're new to trading, see a chart here and it's impossible for them to understand what it is that we're really doing and to know how to do this themselves. And a lot of people just trade from their mobile telephones, for example, and they need to keep things really simple. A lot of what we do here is very, very complex. It gets very, very advanced technical analysis, and that's hard for a lot of people to do. Yeah. Stuck Moass in the title. See how it helps. Why not? Moass Monday. It's alliterative. Good morning, Erika. Lovely to see you. How you doing? How are you doing? Hope everything's been going well for you recently. It's fantastic to see you. Yeah. So a lot of people just trade off their mobile phones, and trading off your mobile phone is really difficult. It's sort of thing I think that we all do. Now, I'll recommend to people that you should do some charting. And I was talking about Maurice. Thanks, Bad Mama Jamma, for the $5. I was talking about this with Trade Spotting over the weekend about how we like to trade on our phones and things like that. And often as well, if a trade goes against us, we'll later on look at a chart and see, you know, really, if you do the analysis, you'll probably find the reason why it went wrong for you. And I think that that's something that's maybe worth pointing out to people as well, is that, that there's something to be learned in that delta. If you are just trading off your phone and you're finding that you're having some success, but you're also having, you know, occasional losses, which you don't necessarily understand on the screen that you're looking at, that sometimes it's very, very useful to go and take a look at a bigger screen, take a look at a bigger picture, and be able to use the tools kind of easily. Because I know on a phone screen it's very hard to tap and then drag out a line, for example, and get it to look good and be accurate. Then sometimes you'll go and you'll check the data elsewhere and you'll realize that there was a good reason for the trade moving against you. So we'll try and keep things accessible in the sense of like building up a picture that somebody, if you like, can go from mobile phone trading to understanding some of these bigger concepts to then being able to implement them in their trading life throughout the week. So that's something that we're going to try and do. Currently the time is 42 minutes after the hour, and we can spend just the next couple of minutes kind of stripping this back a wee bit, this chart here, just to kind of strip it back and go back to the most basics that you would maybe be doing on a mobile phone and build it from there. So by 45 after the hour, this chart will look a little bit different. And then we'll go and we'll take a look at how GME got on with its close on Friday, spend 5 minutes there. Then we'll take 5 minutes to take a look at the other stock that I was talking about, this new idea, this thing, this interest, and discuss anything that anybody wants to discuss. People can put in questions, we can chat about them. We can chat about them and see how it goes. I work 6 days a week, says Arika, so I have to wear an earbud and stay on the DL at work. Okay, Arika. So I appreciate that. A lot of people who are at work in the morning time only get to kind of take part in this in terms of audio. So there is something to be said for the need to look at charts because it's quite a visual thing when you're doing this type of analysis. And obviously it's very difficult to deliver that through to your ear, but I'll try as best as I can. We've got Casey Hansen coming in here and saying uranium stocks are about to moon. Yes, uranium stocks. Well, we can take a look at uranium futures. I'm more interested in looking at the uranium futures. If you want to look at uranium stocks, then cool, but there's a whole bunch of different ones. And really it's all pegged around the uranium futures price, right? So we'll just do that. Also got some people chatting about this Bazinga article. And while it's great that Bazinga are finally, you know, talking about Moass and they actually use the word Moass in the article, I believe. I think that if you really, you know, red pill yourself slightly with regards to this one and think about it from a real neutral perspective, that it becomes quite apparent quite quickly that that's an article that's written purely for SEO and that they actually don't care about it at all. I'm looking forward to seeing if they do a bunch more articles and have a bunch more information and continue on with the story. But just read it and bear that in mind and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's clearly written for SEO. It's a very badly written article. It's got zero insight, adds zero value, and is essentially just a list of the keywords with you know, from meme stock land with little words around them, really, to connect it up together. Nothing special. So we've got 15 seconds to try and make this chart a little bit more accessible for people. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to remove this Fibonacci retracement off the chart there. I'm also going to remove these moving averages off the chart here as well. I'll leave this picture of the wedge on because I think it's quite relevant, and we can come back and we can find some just simple horizontal numbers and we'll be able to pin them together on a larger time frame and then kind of remind people then how they might look on a smaller time frame if they were wanting to trade these things, which is the process that somebody who's trading on a mobile phone kind of would and should and could go through. Come back to all that. GameStop. Pre-market prices trading on this one, $193.05. It's been obviously a fairly it's been a downward move here. This is a 1 hour time frame, and since September's come in, the prices of the stock have dropped. Obviously, we've had a little bit of a kind of pipe effort here with this layout here with the gap. It's always interesting when there's a gap like this that gets filled in this type of a way. It's not right at the top of a market, so it's not got, it's not got that sort of reversal style feature about it. It's interesting that it's happened in here, and we've already covered out the gap, and that the prices actually managed to come down and find support at where they've previously once, and twice, 3 times, then 4 times have found support here at this area. So it's interesting to see. It's good to see that the pre-market prices are at 193. That's ever so slightly up from where we are just now. Will we get some momentum towards the top side today? Targets on this one come in at around about 197, up to the 200 really, to be honest with you. And then afterwards 209 on it. If we can actually push up the way it's going to take some movement, and there's not tons and tons of volume or recently there was a bit of a pickup in volume, and we dropped down, came down to the 177 price point again at wonderful 177.77, 177.97 or something like that. So that's where we came down to yesterday. The current situation for us in terms of the 1 hour time frames obviously remains kind of negative, looking to see can we get a bounce at the neutral line on the stochastics. I understand, by the way, this is not the mobile phone TA stuff that I was talking about before, but I'm just giving a summary on GME. We'll try and introduce some more of these sorts of real basics and cover some of the real fundamental aspects of what trading is, so that you can build up a picture. Because I know people need to build up a picture, and they're aware when they watch this channel, right? This is the good stuff. This is the stuff that I need to be able to actually understand if I want to have full control over my own destiny. Fair enough. But I need to make a path for people to be able to follow, to understand that, a route that you can take. And let's try and see if we can work a little bit towards that today during the live show, put some of our energy towards that. We can see that the volatility here is kind of kicking, or the volatility, the strength of trend, the ADX line, average directional movement, is showing us that the strength is so low in terms of strength of the movements in the markets, that and bear in mind the ADX line will go up or down regardless of the direction of price, just purely in the strength that the price movements are going in, and it's dropped right the way down. So it manages to actually take account of all this gap, etc., up and down again without having found any sort of strength of the trend. And that's kind of simply put a response to kind of coming back down to where we found support at 4 times already. Something's got to give fairly soon with all this sort of stuff, so we'll see how that kind of goes. If this is a downward trend, and you're looking at the RSI and asking about is this hidden bearish divergence, you wouldn't be able to say so, because that high on the price actually came in higher than the previous high, so that's not hidden bearish divergence. We can see that there's of course a sort of bullish divergence in terms of accumulation distribution, that when the prices went low it was all buys, and that's kind of giving you that slightly reduced downward movement there. So it gives you that divergence, but it's just worth pointing out this are obviously all green candles after a period of drop down, so slightly confusing signal over there on that one. MACD confirming for us though as well, that in terms of is it confusing or not on the accumulation distribution, MACD giving us a bit of confirmation here that there is indeed that bullish divergence just there as well, so that's cool. And we'd also have the same thing on the DMI. So that's where we are with that one. So we'll come back around and try and make this simpler, but as you can see already, it is kind of fairly simple already with our horizontal lines drawn on there for us. It's now 50 minutes after the hour, and I'll just catch up with chat for 2 minutes and then introduce that other stock idea as well. So let's just got people like Houston Wade talking about that sort of thing at the minute. So talking about that last night, for example. Kind of worth bearing in mind that NFT is an acronym for non-fungible token, and shares are fungible. Shares, just like coins, are representative of a stake of ownership over a company, and your stake of 1% of a company is exactly equal and interchangeable with my stake of 1% of a company. And that, while it would be cool, it doesn't actually function like that, because you can't do fractional NFT ownership, and you can't do fractional share ownership with NFTs as representatives of those shares. So while it's cool and everything to uninitiated, it doesn't actually make any sense to me, right? It doesn't actually make any sense. Not with an NFT. With a cryptocurrency, it does. The crypto exchange, it does. With an NFT, it doesn't. And, you know, it doesn't. So it's just even the wrong thing. I mean, while it sounds and looks and feels and smells and tastes almost like the right thing, when you say that, it isn't. It's the equivalent of putting tomato ketchup on your spaghetti. It isn't actually a ragu, okay? So there's that. Oh, just a second here. Got a phone call coming in from TradeSpot. Hello, TradeSpotting. Hello? Oh, the music's too loud. Oh, it went louder. Oh, so it did. So it did. Right, thanks. Oh, good to know. It is. Thanks. That's cool. So you couldn't really hear me there, and TradeSpot and let me know. Fantastic. How great is that? Thank you so much. There's somebody who's paying attention. Hey, thanks so much, TradeSpot, and thank you for that. So yeah, so this NFT thing, right? So we've got I am not a cat in there, and what I am not a cat said, for example, just there now was, and we can see similar people talking about this stuff in the world, like Houston Wade, for example, talking about the NFT. Now, I am not cat says, I like the theory around using fractional NFT to trade on NFT exchange with auto market maker. It would make sense with recent hires, association with Loopring, etc., and is a Thanos snap for the shorties. And it's great and it's wonderful, but I would say that is so close to being an accurate way of talking about things. While it isn't, that it's like having a bowl of spaghetti with tomato ketchup instead of ragu on top given to you. It's a good conversation to have, and the likes of Houston Wade and that, etc., getting a lot of traction with having conversations like that. But let's just think about it logically for a second, and you know, sort of inquiring minds thinking about things for a second instead of just kind of just, you know, talking. What we have is NFT. NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. Your ownership of your percentage of what you own of a company in any company is entirely fungible with somebody else's percentage. So the shares that you own in GameStop are fungible with the shares that I own. The mechanisms in markets which actually evolved from certificates with serial numbers on them to fungible share ownership in electronic exchange is actually, it's an evolution. You know, it's not a mistake or a bug. It's a feature, not a bug. So just understanding that, just knowing that actually fungibility in terms of share ownership is what allows things to work. Now, of course, as well, you don't have fractional NFTs because that's not really how they work. And maybe somebody's developed fractional NFTs over the last wee while, but what you're doing is you're taking something which could kind of make sense almost, and adding these bells and whistles onto it, which make the thing make less and less sense. And what it actually does is it narrows the gap between the shareholders, etc. beforehand. The chances of something like that being able to happen without having, say, a vote on it by the shareholders is somewhat diminished in terms of, like, if any company just did this, it would be quite exclusionary. What about all the mutual funds, etc., which want to get involved in it? It's very much a myopic view as presented by perhaps an egocentrical retail perspective on what it is to actually be involved in markets in the grander scheme of things, and really essentially what economics is all about. What we want to do is so many ways is change the system, break the system perhaps, but we don't want to actually put the system into a way that operates exclusionary and, you know, detrimental effect on people's shareholders, etc. NFT ownership divides the ERC-721 token into multiple ERC-20 tokens. Hence, each ERC-20 token becomes a fractional NFT of the asset. As far as I know, just a smooth brain though. Yeah, no, that's true. But you know, you're saying you take something which costs you to do, right? Because these aren't just like sort of, you know, words and letters. You take something like making an ERC-721 token, which costs you to do, and then you break it up into multiple ERC-20 tokens, which is pointless, because you could just have multiple ERC-20 tokens. So an ERC-20 tokens aren't NFTs and they're fungible, and you're saying you're going to take a non-fungible token and split it up into fungible things. It's cool and everything, and this is like a use case for it, but it's a pretty shit use case for it compared to the real use case for it, which is that, say for example, you wanted to have multiple ownership over a significant piece of art from history, instead of it just being one person, you know, and you all want to own a piece of that specific piece of art, where that Mona Lisa is not fungible with another Mona Lisa, and your ERC-20 token, which represents a fraction of an NFT, that NFT in itself is non-fungible. Company shares are fungible, mate. They're fungible. They are fungible. There is no added value to taking something which is fungible and saying it's non-fungible. There isn't any. There never has been. The dollar bill on the wall of a person who says this is the first ever dollar bill I made in my business is non-fungible to them and them alone. Whereas you could take that dollar bill and put it into your wallet, and within 3 seconds have completely forgotten which dollar bill that is compared to any other, and also willing to accept that to you there is zero difference between any of them and they're completely fungible. Shares are fungible, mate. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes sense if you're looking to try and turn this whole thing into a meme. And to be honest with you, this is a serious company, and we're talking about a company that's a $13 billion company, and it's great and it's fun and everything to do that, but we're talking about a really serious company that's looking to become one of the biggest companies in the world. And we're not talking about a company which is just like, oh yeah, screw all of this, screw all that. No, we're talking about a company which is going out there and hiring really serious executives, which has got really serious amounts of backing behind it and really serious plans and visions for the future for a business. Anyhow, it's just a good idea to remember that we're talking about a real serious company over here, and that we ourselves are real serious people. In after the news section, when we come back, we'll be taking a look at this stock over here. I'm going to just bring it up here just now, just to show you which one it is, and you can of course start making up your own opinions about it on the way as we go here. And this is of course called EVGO. It is electronic vehicle charging adapter thing, you know, not the electric vehicle, not the electricity, but the thing that connects the electric vehicle and the electricity together. Manufacturing company, and they have got a female CEO. So that's pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a wee bit about news over here. You can see you've got the finance.yahoo. It's a bit delayed today, so I didn't have the time to scour the entire world for all the best news, but there's the sort of the typical things that we've been talking about recently as well. Futures rise as stocks look to end 5-session losing streak. This sort of like this isn't giving you a why yet. This is kind of, you know, before it's come up with a why for anything. So we'll have to wait and see how the actual prices of things evolve. But you know, futures rise as stocks look to end 5-session losing streak. I mean, there's no why there. There's no sort of COVID shakiness or European bonds or anything like that, chat, which I thought was stingy. Anyway, suddenly everyone thinks the stock market is going to plunge, and I thought this was funny because, of course, professional investors, professional traders, analysts, and everything have thought that the stock markets are going to plunge for about 10 years now. I know, I'm not kidding. That's not a joke. That's what they think. So go ask one. They'll be like, yeah, we've thought this for quite a while. Anyway, now they're saying that everybody else, and I also think that that's also inaccurate, because we've all been talking about this for a long time now. So I don't know, maybe it's the kind of our echo chamber, and that there's a big chunk of retail investors out there, for instance, who think that this is the case all of a sudden, who also have never talked about GME or Moass or anything like that, and I've also not talked about any of the other stuff like the just generally speaking, the massive inflation in terms of the actual price of stock compared to the earnings that they've got, etc. That's happened, so that there's this sort of fundamental stretch in the market, etc. at the minute. But anyway, but that doesn't mean that you should sell is bolded at the top of the article, and I think that's kind of what we're talking about. We aren't talking about the reiteration of a decade-long Nouriel Deboum Rubini type call for stock market crash. Okay, due to the always easy excessive valuation and bloated government debt arguments. Oh, okay. Instead, we're referencing stock market correction calls of at least 10% by some of the brightest minds on Wall Street, whose work I really respect. Okay, so Brian Sozzi's specifically, I introduced this article by saying that this is the sort of thing that everybody else knows about, and now he's talking about that there'll be 10% corrections in the market. Sure, I mean that's actually something that we talked about for quite a while as well. It's nothing new. Still, sorry, Brian Sozzi, your pals, nothing new. Anyway, Deutsche Bank strategist Binky Chada. Alright, cool name, Binky. Also recently cautioned on the chance for a near-term correction in the market. So what people are talking about it, it's just that there could be a correction. Sure, we've all known this. This is a bit of news I think is newsworthy. In fact, how El Salvador's Bitcoin adoption could empty it of its US dollar reserves. So El Salvador recently switched over to using Bitcoin instead of fiat currency. Fiat, by the way, means just like, you know, fake money, which is what money is, right? You know, it's all just printed out by some machine somewhere, and it's just like fiat money. Then you've got Bitcoin, which is like hard money, and they've switched over to hard money, if you like. Here, El Salvador's Bitcoin gamble, they're calling it still, and of course it is a gamble in the sense that they're very early into this compared to other people. Could start a chain reaction that drains the nation of its US dollar reserves, an economic expert has forecast. After the country's Bitcoin law came into effect on Tuesday, 7th of September, economic forecasters expect the majority of Salvadorans to immediately change the Bitcoin they receive into US dollars. Tuesday's crypto market crash will only reinforce this attitude. So the idea being here is that they've got US dollar reserves in the bank. They're being, you know, paid in Bitcoin, etc. They're going to try and convert that over to dollars, and that'll reduce the market of their dollar reserves. Well, you know, whatever. It's interesting. It's just an interesting one. I think we're all kind of waiting to see how these things play out, but that's just an interesting dynamic that I thought would be worth bringing up here. US may crack down on stable cryptocurrencies. Yep. Tether, it's been getting a bit of the old headlines and stuff. It has done for the last couple of years, really. So a firm decision isn't expected until December, right? When the working group is believed to be issuing recommendations. Reportedly a consensus in favor of Oversight Council review. It's funny here they put a consensus in inverted commas there. I don't know why they're trying to take the piss out of the word consensus, or they're trying to take the piss out of the audience, or they're trying to take the piss out of the working group. Don't understand why they put that in thing, but there's reportedly a consensus, an agreement in favor. It's a typical word, mate. It's used in crypto all the time because consensus is agreement, and you look for consensus in order to move forward, and it's just part of the whole evolution of crypto. Anyway, consensus in favor of an oversight council review. If that happens, the council could label stablecoins as threats that warrant strict regulation. Numerous cryptocurrencies could be forced to change their business models or even shut down. So a lot of stuff in there. We obviously always want to know what the next thing, the sort of somewhat flippy floppy unclear legislators are going to do about one thing or another. Now here's another bit of news, right? Got 5 minutes into this section. We've flown through the news section here today. That's pretty good. And this is another one. Men need not apply to the world's largest e-scooter factory. So I thought this was an interesting and funny headline here. Bavash Agarwal, excuse me, sorry for saying your name so badly, is the guy running this company called Ola Electric Mobility, PVT, right? It makes e-mobility stuff, and they're expected to make its debut in public markets next year. The vision is for the newest venture to provide the world's cleanest and carbon negative footprint inclusive workforce. And that inclusive workforce is pretty interesting. The first group of workers started this week at a factory in Krishnagiri, about 2.5 hours southeast of Bangalore, which cost $330 million to complete. At full capacity, future factory will employ over 10,000 women, making it the world's largest women-only factory and only all-women automotive manufacturing facility globally. Quality. That's good stuff. I wonder if there'll be any outcomes from that, which are kind of worth noting, you know, in terms of the quality. Probably at least as good as what anybody else would have made in any other situation I'd have imagined. I just wonder how it's going to go. I just think that's really interesting that they're going to have, you know, 10,000 women in this future factory. I also think it's really great that if they're bringing employment opportunities to people who otherwise maybe would find it more difficult to get one in a developing economy. Enabling women with economic opportunities improves not just their lives, but that of their families and indeed the whole community, Agarwal said. Women's participation in the local manufacturing industry stands at just 12%. 12%. And we often imagine that this is the sort of job that would be dominated by them, you know, because sewing things together, etc. We've seen the pictures of factories that seem to look like they're full of women as part of India's manufacturing workforce, but it actually just accounts for 12%. For India to be the world's manufacturing hub, we must prioritize upskilling and generating employment for our women workforce, the founder said in the blog. I just think it's super exciting and a good thing. Now, obviously, it's discriminatory against men, etc., but this is early days. Guys, we'll not get our hair in a twist about it. Cool. So on that note of women, here's the EVGO chart, and I'm just going to take a wee couple of minutes to talk about this. This is again another modern company, which is head up by a female CEO, but it's had a bit of a hard time recently. And what's happened is the prices moved up to their all-time high in the start of January at $24, $24.50 or so, $24.40, $24.24, something like that. And then they sank on down, perhaps looking like they might have found a bottom, perhaps, you know, when the prices came down here in March to $10, having lost, you know, over half their value, and coming back down to near the starting price of this thing. That ultimately proved to be not the case. Now, what ended up happening is we came up and we moved higher, and it came up to a 618 golden pocket yet again before sinking down. In fact, the 618 is missing off of that. Let me just pop it back on here so you can see. Where? Come on, keyboard, start working. There we go. So that came up to this golden pocket and then turned around here. So what we're seeing is a chart that is operating fairly typically, in the sense that we had this interaction around the golden pocket, and indeed this gap that happened right over the golden pocket back there on 23rd February before moving up and down again. Came back up to the golden pocket in June and then on down. So the golden pocket price, by the way, is in around about $16. The current price on this thing is in around about $8. You could be looking from here for a move towards the top side. You could. We've got a wedge potential here. 3 touches along the downside, several touches along the top side there on that one. Now, there's other facets about this which make it interesting. You know, here's your MACD, and we can see here that in these lows that we've had this upward sloping effect here. Again, this is advanced TA. We'll talk about we'll go back to talking about the simple stuff soon again in a minute, talking about more about those fundamentals that you need to know about. See the same thing on the go over here in the accumulation distribution. See the same thing on the go on the RSI. You can actually see the same thing on the go on the stochastics as well, although it's maybe not so obvious whenever it's zoomed out there because it looks kind of level. And the way that it works on the DMI is that, of course, because this is all about the strength, that you need to see in terms of the negative, it's when the negative goes high that the negative's strong. Unlike on stochastics and RSI, where the negative is just when the one line goes low, that's negative. Well, these are separated out into positive and negative lines. So when it's and this is a scale of strength in terms of the upward sloping, in terms of the y-axis, in terms of the y-axis, right? Yeah. Anyway, so here we have this kind of little bit of divergence here between these 2 points. between the 20th of August and the 8th of September, not so much, but just right here at the very end, there's that little kind of taster of it. So this is a decent kind of opportunity for us. Now, of course, if the prices do drop down, I'd be looking down towards the sort of 760, etc. But there's an opportunity here to be for people. If we did get a measured move off the back of this, it would be expressing the range, more or less. Oh, the magnet tool not being very helpful there. Be expressing the range of this movement here. So if we pop that over to our breakout area, then you'd be looking at a move up towards the 382 Fibonacci, which is of course that $12.40, and then you could be looking up as well easily towards the golden pocket up there for that. Now if I pop this over to the linear to the logarithmic chart, we can see that it's more or less the same sort of idea, except this is taking us above the 236, you know. So just really what we want to see happen is that we wouldn't lose $12 if we got this big move up the way. It might even be hard for us to get past $12, you know. That's a decent rise up from where we are now. 40% rise up from where we are now, so, or 50% rise up. So, you know, we'd be looking for that. We'd be looking for that to be a profit-taking zone for some people, but ultimately to move on the way. And this could be a decent trending opportunity for some people to get into. So that's something to be taking a look at. Coming up to about 1/4 the hour, I'll check and see how the chat's getting on again for another couple of minutes here before we flick back to the news, etc. Let's just see, that's about there. Music volumes are slightly different, whatever. My microphone volume slightly different. It's all slightly different on the screen. Right, anyway. How's the chat getting on? We'll go back over and take a look at things before they kick off. Amber, so the creator owns it but sells its rights to it, or am I way off? Oh, what are you talking about there? The individual addresses for each piece is really the important part. Talking about NFTs over there, yeah. I mean, the individual things, or maybe more like an apartment because the landlord... right, let's just scroll that back up here and read this conversation because it seems interesting. I'll start off just reading this one. Very sensible analysis, Rocky Outcrop. If a company makes and sells an NFT meme of its logo or such like, does this not take away from the inherent underlying value of the company? In a sense, it would do, yeah, because then because if the NFT itself is to mean anything, then they would need to actually, you know, if it's to actually have value, then that would have ownership. Now they don't have owner. If they were to sell it, they'd be selling a cheaper NFT. So if the company made an NFT of its logo but didn't include within that NFT the ownership rights of that logo and therefore the goodwill of that logo, etc., then the NFT is worth less. If it actually put what goodwill and rights and everything else that go along with a logo into an NFT, and those people actually owned that, they owned the rights to the logo, that would be massively undermining the value of the company, because goodwill is a big part of any company. So that wouldn't really typically happen. It's quite unlikely for that to happen in any way. If those things were to happen, then they would probably just base it on standard contract law, because that gives you the standard processes for redress when things get out of hand. So that's quite unlikely to really work in terms of it really, you know. Anyway, scrolling on down the way, but good point and interesting. I think though that in terms of marketing, if it's just a way of marketing the company, then it adds value to the company in a sense by marketing it. But it's a one-shot thing, isn't it? If things are going to be unique and non-fungible, then it's a one-shot thing. Lotion Motion, how you doing? Hello, Mr. Outcrop. How's the sentiment now versus just prior to the 2008 crash? Could you compare? Yeah, sure we could. We'll do that in a wee bit. Excellent, Kim. Moass Monday and Rocky Outcrop is streaming. Yes, Moass Monday. It is indeed Moass Monday. Help me come up with a name for the episode tomorrow for Tuesday. What's it going to be on Tuesday? What's it going to be then? Technical Tuesday? What's it going to be? Right. Dan Ernst, back from the dead. Rob, what are you saying? I, for one, do appreciate the morning news segment. Thanks, Rocky Outcrop. Cool, nice one. I think it's cool. You know, it's if there was big news, then I would try and introduce it, you know. And as well, I've got my Discord with our Discord, I should say, with a news section in there. So, you know. JC, what we got? Dan Ernst leapt in. You just need to talk to the powers that be and explain YouTube Rocky GME. Yep, absolutely. I don't really get NFTs, says JCC CPD. If GME sells something of value and sells it if somebody sells it, how does this not devalue the cut to company asset? I assume they can only sell it once. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a case of what they're actually selling, you know, case of what they're actually selling. Dad, you're thinking about it more along the lines of taking real hard things and selling them, and instead it's more like anybody that does this sort of process becomes Andy Warhol. Okay, that might help with understanding it. Okay, so there was a chat though from Observe Thyself and stuff I wanted to read. Maybe more like an apartment, because the landlord, whoever made the art, can still always get a percentage of the rent. Interesting. Wow, everyone is live this morning. Guess they're expecting something big to happen. Wow, interesting. I wonder what that's all about. The individual addresses for each piece is really an important part. Yes, it is. So the creator owns it but sells the rights to it, or am I way off? Observe Thyself. No, it's just a chain thing that the people have put in. It's not the case with all NFTs. It doesn't have to be, but you've got things like through OpenSea Market, etc., that when something is made by an artist, that they're able to sell it and then still retain some of the actual rights to the sell value through their historical ownership of the thing. Okay, so so it's implicit within the thing itself, because you can tell who the previous owners of anything was by their addresses. So the originator of this thing is able to get a kickback for every sale down the line of the work, without having to actually do anything extra or have anything extra, because the history is provable. Whereas if it was kind of the real world, you know, whatever, the old world, then you would need to prove that you were that person that owned it. In a world which is trustless, where you don't require trust because everything is authenticatable, yeah, that you don't need trust. There's no need for trust, therefore it's removed from the system in a trustless environment, then that's taken care of implicitly. So they don't own the work at all, but they do receive a percentage of the sale price afterwards. Now this is through selling it in these ways, you know. Transfer of an NFT can happen without the original owner getting anything for it, so you obviously could sell it privately, and this is through these constructs like OpenSea, etc., that system works. I don't think the GameStop NFT program needs to be directly linked to the stock like many are led to believe. They're in it for the tech aspect. Yeah, but anyway, as well, if you're to take things like basically worthless games, which are just, you know, discs that people don't want to use anymore, and then you were to apply an NFT to that specific disc, it takes something that's worthless and applies value to it. So it depends on which particular thing that you're selling off, and it's very good to take something that's worthless and apply art to it. And truth be told, that is primarily, I mean, most of the transactions that happen in the NFT space are purely based around that very concept right there, of taking something worthless and applying value to it. Think of an NFT attached to your game, digital copy just says yours, and you can transfer ownership. There we go as well. That's absolutely true. Now there's also a case to be made that with digital ownership of a computer game, that you don't actually need to have an NFT to tie your ownership to it. So you would need to be innovative, because the solution as it stands is more than sufficient, in the sense that you have the digital rights to this thing, and already there's companies out there like Steam, etc., that allow you to lend games to other people and to do this sort of stuff based over your digital rights, and that these things operate as a ledger. So there's a very, 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 very good case to be made for saying, well, how much do we need to have a blockchain? And this is something that any blockchain company needs to actually think about, and it's, you know, a real thing. To be perfectly frank, they don't need to have a blockchain or public ledger to run a digital game swapping service. So you have to think about, where is the value add in terms of making this information publicly disseminable? Yeah, I'm going to skip down the chat there. I see there's probably some real interesting stuff from TradeSpot and stuff in there as well, but I'm just going to skip on down to the bottom. I think of an NFT as a possible replacement for the old CD key system. That's great and everything. Let me just be very clear here. All of these ideas are extremely innovative. I've not heard any that's really fantastic. Okay, I've not heard anything. I've not heard anything that's fantastic. They're all a lot better than the idea of using it as a replacement for the stock, which has massive implications. You know, business ending implications almost for the company. So they're all really brilliant ideas. I've not heard anything that I think is really amazing yet, because all of these ideas around are they're not amazing, right? But the point is that they're all very doable and they're all very real, and maybe for somebody 10 years ago, they'd all sound totally amazing. And maybe it's my familiarity with crypto, etc. But because it all sounds incredibly doable and incredibly actionable and all very good value and good sensible business, it just seems like good ideas to me. Good ideas, right? Good ideas. It's very innovative compared to every other computer game shop out there, and they should do it. But it's very good. They would need to have, you know, sort of relationships made with the manufacturers and the people who own the rights to the game. You can't sell the rights to something that somebody else owns the right to, even if you are the one that makes the NFT. Think about it. You can't go and take a picture of the Mona Lisa and then sell the Mona Lisa NFT. You don't have the right to do that. So just in terms of thinking about the innovation, it's all very surface scratching ideas. Now, we think on the outside that we're actually doing a good job when we scratch the surface here, but actually you need to fucking dig deep and come up with a proper meaty idea. Otherwise it's kind of just it just isn't. I want to specifically own Rocky Outcrop second edition of Monkey Island 2. Wait, right, okay, you want to own it? That's cool. That's totally, why not? Why not? Brilliant. So we're 21 minutes after the hour. We've got 9 minutes until market opens. It's the perfect time to jump back around again and review where the pre-market prices are on GME, and then also jump over to AMC and see if we can continue that process of somewhat dismantling the complex aspects of the charts, and instead looking at them with a bit more simplicity involved. Here we can see that there's several horizontal lines on the chart, and these demarcate areas of potential support and resistance. Whoops. For us. So this is something that you can do, okay, and you can do this on your phone. It is possible. You would just use the horizontal support and resistance tool, and you the horizontal line tool. See here, horizontal line tool. That's what you would be wanting to use, and just pop them in here where you find the areas. Now it can be very difficult for people to identify key areas of support and resistance. But this is the sort of thing that you'd want to end up with on your chart. So just to kind of demonstrate this, how about we jump over to this company that I was just bringing up there a minute ago and pop in a couple of horizontal lines just so that you can see, for example. So if I were to take a horizontal line just here, stick that in there, you can see that it came down here, and a couple of times, you know, it's in and around about this sort of a zone in here that we found support and resistance, found in here, here. Not great example there, but just here we did, and then of course here in terms of resistance. So that's a big area for us. That comes in there at closer to $11. Like that sort of thing is what you can do to add in support and resistance lines. You know, we can see that there's a gap here, a gap that gapped over the gap over there. A little knot in price action there, a little knot in price action just there, some support just here, support just here on the 10th of June, and that as well. So you could have another line just in there, for example. You can have the same sort of thing in up here just above. You could draw in lines where you think that there's decent support and resistance. Now this would give you a broad term picture. This is drawn in on the 1 hour time frame, for example, and then you'd be able to look in smaller time frames at how things handle them at certain zones. So how are we doing down here? Well, this is all the all-time low territory. So there only really is the support and resistance potential in this zone, just real tight in here. So so you'd be looking and saying, well, where's the support and resistance? Well, we can see that there was just some just here. Like so something happened to the prices just here. Something happened in here or in here at the prices. Something happened just here at the price. Something here. Something just here and just here. So we know that there's something going on in here. You can see that there. And now I know you're a human being that's watching this. Most of you. There's 1 or 2 people that are cats, but most of you are human beings that are watching this, and that you've got the pattern recognition. Sorry, wrong camera. You've got the pattern recognition skills to see what I'm talking about here. So I don't need to explain that in any more detail. And then you can pop that line in just like that. So you've got a support and resistance line. It is both. It's support here, it was resistance here, it was support here, resistance here, resistance here. And currently, if we're looking at this, it would be a resistance line. Then what you can do, of course, is now that you've got that drawn in, you could look down the time frames. Here's your 5 minutes. And you might be thinking, okay, so are we going to bust through just here, etc.? Maybe looking at this movement up the way, comparing it to your oscillators. Oh, a little bit bearishly divergent just on the approach there. Maybe we need to consolidate a little bit looking down and looking for execution if we break this. So in these moments here, when it was running up towards in the 5 minutes, you could have been thinking, okay, so this is looking good. I could maybe take a trade here if we can break this level. Let's see, did we break it here? Oh, are we about to? And just in this zone, you might think to yourself, well, oh, maybe I'll take a trade, maybe I won't take a trade, for example. And what some people like to do, this isn't particularly how I personally trade, but I'm introducing you to ideas that will, you know, help you. You could look at it in the 1 minute time frame just to kind of narrow in and see, you know, it was only a couple of minutes later you can see that the prices actually just, you know, drop back down. They didn't have that strength. Here's a high and here's a high, so you can make a comparison if you had an oscillator on and think, well, is it looking decent? Is it not? And you could be like, well, that's high, and then that's bearishly divergent, for example. So that'd be quite advanced. You don't even need to. You can just kind of say, well, have we broken this level? Because we're going to retest it. If we break above a level that's significant, we're going to retest it, and then it'd be on the retest that you'd be looking to buy. This is just on the break, come back down. Is this going to be a retest? Well, it failed immediately, so you didn't make your buy. Came up here. When we retest it, will we buy it? No, we failed again, so you still weren't looking to buy. Came down here, up above it on the 5 minute time frame. You go down to the 1 minute again to look. Did it succeed? No, it failed immediately, so you didn't buy it. On down, same thing, failed immediately, you didn't buy it. And that could be how you might be trading support and resistance. You might be thinking to yourself, I want to go long on this. For whatever reason, you might be thinking, I want to go long on this. So you're looking to take a long. You know that there's resistance up there, and you're looking to get confirmation. It could also be that you're looking to short it, in which case you're shorting it at the resistance there, and saying to yourself, well, is it breaking it or not? And trying to figure that out. Now, that's an example. We've got a few minutes left. Let's just jump back over to the other charts again. I had AMC. I was going to look at AMC for a second here then. AMC in the place to be. Yep. Scooby-Dooby-Dee. So we have this really short-term time frame stuff here. You can see we come right back down and retested this area. When it actually happened initially, we spoke about it at the time and said, is this enough to constitute a retest? And like, technically, you know, it retested that line, but we weren't very keen on it. And we said, yeah, we can still kind of anticipate a retest of this here properly at 49, you know, come in at 49.50, 49 or $50. And it did that. And now today, of course, you can see that the prices are starting off already. They want to start off gapping up towards 51. It's a whole dollar movement up the way. So we're looking again to see if we have that, essentially, again, another retest of this area. And a gap fill. We don't need to see one. We don't need to see a gap fill. We've had lots of gaps in the past which have not really been filled in, like this at 44 region, and then this down here at the 41 region. So, you know, could we see another one at the $50 region that takes us up here? Yes, we could. Still just going to wait and see how the thing plays out at the start, you know, and that, because of the volatility here, is probably likely to be real. I'll be managing my risk with any sorts of flip-flopping around about $49, and just kind of taking things easy. It's decent start there. So we're coming into the start of the day, 1 minute away. Other things that we could take a look at. I had something in my head just a second ago that I wanted to take a look at. I don't know. Let's bring up the dual screen thing then, actually, so I can spend 5 minutes kind of chilling out of chat again. And maybe I'll remove myself from screen, actually, even for 5 minutes as well, and go make a cup of tea and come back again soon. I don't know, but we're here at 29 minutes after the hour. It is currently 9:30 in New York. New York. What a wonderful place. It truly is. I loved New York when I went there. Really fantastic. Friendly people. I think New Yorkers get a bit of a bad rep in the States, don't they? As being the sort of the, hey, I'm walking here. Sort of like they've got an attitude of some sort. I really like them. Oh, company that I wanted to take a look at as well. Shout out to Vivenna for talking about it. AMGN. They've come up with some cancer treatment just as markets are opening. Let's take a look at these guys as markets open. Am I spelled that wrong? AMGN? Is that wrong? AMGN? Yeah, okay. So these guys have got some sort of new cancer treatment thing. It's cool. Wait. But it's biotech. Damn it. So regular. Am I on the right one? I think I am. Yeah. Great. So is there not a gap on this chart? It's not a gap. Wait. Yeah. Look, AMGN. Where are we? How are we? Is this a 4-hour time frame? Boom. 4-hour time frame. Check it out. AMGN. Shout out to all the people out there that know about this thing. What are we looking at here? Horizontal ray in here, popping in $240. That's my target. Got a flash in the DMI. Just get a vertical line out here and pop it in. Where's vertical line? V, vertical line. Pop this in just in here. So that's the candle that we're looking to. That's the end of the flash, as you can see. So going on right down here, that's the end of the flash. That's your opening of price of the candle. There it comes in. 239, 239.34, whatever. Call it 239. Aiming up to. That's what we're aiming up to. We could see this thing float a bit lower down if this like latest lows are to be believed. Looking at the low that came in at this point here and the latest one, though, you got bullish divergence between them. Any sorts of taken out of our lows is going to be great. So therefore, I'm looking at 224 up to 239 is a nice move. This is just bouncing off the 40 line in the DMI. Perfect time to turn around, testing the edge of the bearish control zone. Perfect time to move up towards that neutral line. Coming in here with a bullish divergence on the MACD as well. Perfect. The puts calls ratios moved up. It's moved up. Actually, I don't actually think I want to have the puts calls ratio on the show today. It just confuses people, so we're trying to keep things simple. So I want to give everybody a shout out for that one as well, and for yourself, Viv, so that you can see what's going on there with that. Yeah, great. Have we filled that in already? Just in the first 5 minutes? No. Like I say, we don't need to fill it in. We never do. But we're up here at the 200 simple. Coming down here and testing the 50 with a wick down below would fill that in on this, 3-minute time frame. The 1-minute time frame. Here's the 1-minute time frame, yeah. And we're also going to add on our friend AMC, American Movie Company. Get rid of those extended hours. I don't want the VWAP on. Or the Bollinger Bands. So great stuff. Super pleased to see it doing that. Actually, tell you what, I want to take a quick sort of look out here at something a bit bigger, broad term. Oh, that was a good show on Friday. We've talked about harmonics a lot recently, so let's just have a measure here. 5618. Right, okay, so failure to take out 57, where we have that next resistance where our target is, which is where the golden pocket is. So it's where all eyes are aiming to right now. Like so many reasons right here, this is a golden pocket. That would mean that we could maybe see the prices coming back down for a retrace back down to this orange line, which is probably where that 786 is. So let's just see the 618, something around about there. It's the 886, whatever, that's all good. And then it's coming down towards that zone. And then, of course, then thereafter, you could be looking up for a 1618. This is a logarithmic chart, so it's not going to be so perfect. They're 1618 at 68.49, but on the that's the linear chart. Oh, that's perfect actually. Just leave on linear. So the point here is that we could even see harmonic play out with this one if we were to see a retrace after our measured move. After a measured move comes in, I mean that's really predicting the markets way in advance. Way in advance. It's super, like let's just be very clear. Oh, wrong camera. Let's just be very clear what I'm doing there. Very clear about that. It's predicting the market way in advance. It's very dangerous to do that sort of thing. Great, cool. Morno Rocco, Morno John G. Observe thyself. I still haven't been able to watch Friday's show. Was catching up on the classes. Going to watch today. Thank you. Observe thyself. Good. There's times when I'm not on the screen. You can kind of play them at 2x speed, and you won't be missing out on hearing me speak. It's really good, by the way. It's really good. really good. Like it's, yeah, it was good. Thanks, Sasha. People are saying that. Brady Pearl told the story last night about meeting my first New Yorker. Great story. You don't wait for traffic. Traffic waits for you. Cross the damn street, she said. Yeah. I like it. I tell this story all the time about when I was in New York and I heard somebody sat at a traffic light in a convertible, no roof, beeping their horn, screaming at the person in front of them to hurry the fuck up, even though it was a red light and they couldn't turn. It wasn't turning right at a red or any of that crap. You know, just saying, "Can I learn to drive? You know, screaming it at them. Sat just one car behind with the red light there, and stuff like that. I just think, oh wow, the attitude here is just so like, just so great, right? And stuff. I say the same thing when I'm crossing the road as well. Quite a lot of the time, I think, well, you know, they're sat in a nice, comfortable car. I'm walking around out here. It's harder for me. I'm walking around. They're sat in a comfortable car. They can wait. Are we going to come in and fill this gap so that we can go up towards 57 and be happy about it or not? I wonder here on this one. You can see that on the 24-hour time frame or the daily time frame that we've already filled that in essentially by now. Ding ding biggity bang, Ronaldo Moreno, says Brady Pearl. Lol, you're a gentleman and a scholar, Dan Ernst. Ooh, why? What did Dan Ernst say? Chrissa, I'm just waiting for Rocky and or Jamie to let me know when it's time to head to the top of the mountain. Oh, what mountain are we going to here? The mountain? I hope so. Carissa, anything to help? Good quality, because our community of fantabulous people. Yes, fantastic. Observe thyself, getting hearts from FU money. That's quality, excellent. That's cool. Kim can also confirm. Nice one. Yes, I'm walking here. Was this Friday's regular stream that people are talking about? I was only able to watch a bit of it live. Yeah, it's Friday's regular stream, Brian. It was intensely educational, but also hugely accessible. The show is a tour de force of bringing people from not knowing a lot about technical analysis to knowing more than most people that work in the professional arena for many years, all within the space of just a couple of hours, with understanding simple, you know, complex problems solved using simple analogies and techniques to show it. It's truly a tour de force. It is. Luke Sotos, when you see bearish or bullish divergence, does it burn off when it comes back to where the divergence started, or how would you judge when it burns off? Looking at charts and looking for divergences and saying how they burn off, it's kind of like a case of sometimes just having to take it from saying, well, this was a phase in the market over here. I mean, this is a bad example because there isn't any on this one to point out. And this is a new phase in the market. You can kind of tell, etc. And that sort of thing. But also, it's kind of like, so you've got your oscillator looking like that or whatever. Like, and then between these 2 points here, you've got your divergence, and the prices were going up. And then we come down here and maybe we go back down and we don't find a bounce there, but we find a bounce at our previous low, for instance, on the price action itself, maybe at the time. Maybe then you also find that we stayed above the neutral line on the RSI, and then we start to turn around, and then we take out our previous high in the RSI and we're trending this direction again afterwards. And then at this point here, maybe we come back up, and then you're like, okay, yeah, cool. We had like two different phases in the market, this one here and this one here, and it's burned off in the meantime. So it's that sort of thing, you know. It's like it's a judgment call so often, and whatever. It's kind of like, well, if we're trending now and we're doing it without the divergence, what is the relationship with where we are now to where we were then, and how and do those two things reconcile or not? So anyway, that's a super advanced question for the core for people, and that's such fun. I got to listen, but we'll be hands off for a bit. Way, thanks, Kieran. It was amazing, Rocky. I loved the polls as well because they verified whether I was understanding or... Oh, I forgot to do polls at all today. 20 past the hour. Oh, I don't even have the price action on screen as well. Okay, so what could I have done a poll on today so far? Really, I should have been doing that. Shouldn't I? You really get good education with your ears around here, but the eyeballs are so important, says Corey. Yeah, it's true. Although, having said that, I would like my show to be accessible. If you're somebody who has impaired vision of any sort, even color blindness, and you've got a preference that you would like for me to be able to do to make things slightly easier for you, then I would happily do that. We would all accommodate that. It's not a problem. Okay, let's do polls. Yes, let's do polls. Gosh, we need to do polls. But what's the poll? What's the poll topic? What's the poll topic? What's the poll topic got to be? Right. Okay. At what price? Let's do. We'll go over and look at GME in a second, right? What? No, sugar. That's so hard to think of it. A poll. Creative people out there, suggest a poll for me. Suggest a poll. Mad Dog, you're colorblind. To the charts, I've got unusual colors in my charts already. I try to make it somewhat accessible to colorblind people with the red and the blue. Well, with the blue and the purple. Well, the cyan and purple colors. I don't know if it's just all grey to you though, buddy, man. Ah, exactly, KT. Ketchup versus ragu. You know, there is a difference. They might both have tomatoes in them. Oh, that's the poll. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Okay. So quick poll to everybody. Thanks, KT. Good suggestion. Spaghetti sauce. Oh no. What would you like on your spaghetti? Ragu. Ketchup. Who knows? There are people out there that prefer it. Are you a cat? Music or no music? Aye, that'd be one. The music at the minute's not that brilliant either. I mean, it's all right. It's in there. It's meant to be kind of sort of ignorable. What divergence tool do you use on TradingView? I use RSI, the MACD, the stochastics, the DMI, the accumulation distribution. Any oscillator essentially that's a momentum oscillator or any sort of oscillator can most of the time you can use it for divergence. It's a case of understanding what it is that you're looking for. I looking at divergences during oscillating markets, range in price action, etc. More so on the stochastics than on the others. Generally speaking, I think that in terms of the stock world, that's the MACD stochastics is a little bit more impactful than the RSI, and in terms of cryptocurrency, I put them both more or less on level pegging, with perhaps the RSI getting an edge at times. What with it being able to kind of combine with others a little bit more, the MACD offering up a great sort of what am I trying to say? A great confirmation tool on that one. In terms of like the tool that I use to kind of point it out to people, it's just a trend line tool. I'm quite good at using my eyeballs, but there are ones out there. I mean, for example, there's a guy that makes good indicators that's got his own one. It costs money and all the rest of it, but it's the Caretaker's RSI divergence, for example, over here, which will show you the divergences, so you don't have to, you don't have to look at it yourself. It's similar looking to my RSI, which is just up above, slightly different, but similar looking. It uses slightly different levels for its stuff. Anyway, yeah, it'll show you. It's a bit esoteric, and it's got kind of couple of little things in there in terms of like cutting through the RSI itself and stuff like that. I need to kind of develop that myself. Need to kind of investigate and everything, like exactly the reasoning behind it all. Oh, so is AMC filling this frecking gap yet or not? Ragu's winning out fairly strong here, so we're coming in. Looks like we've just about filled it. Not quite, but but it looks like it's fairly likely. Let's see if GME's filled in its gap as well. Not quite, but almost. Or is it just about? Yeah, skin of its teeth style, pretty close. Hey, Phil, thanks for the upgrade. Really appreciate it. Cachito Valador. Ragu giving you tummy problems as a kid, but you still prefer it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Right. Brilliant. That's enough of that poll. So, does anybody know how many people? Right. This is another poll for people. How many of you? I'll just go back to the big screen in fact for a second, so people can see that I'm in kind of chitty chat mode if they're flicking through the video at a later date. How many of you understand the DMI flash thing? At least got an idea of it, right? So how many people do you feel like you understand what I am trying to explain when I show a Rocky Outcrop DMI flash? This is something I kind of need to know myself. I know that there's people out there, for instance, like Cachito Valador, right? That not only does he understand what I'm looking at, he's proactively looking for these sorts of things in the Discord and talking about them with people. You've also got people like Christy Callahan, who again is also proactively looking for these things and talking about them with people in the Discord. And at the minute, we've got some good examples. Like, I wonder why Streamlabs didn't like you there, Daniel. Yes, thank you so much for talking about this. Oh, you're welcome. So we've got really good examples at the minute. I can't remember what time frame you were looking at, Cachito, on the Kerr Diddly Dando chart. What was it? Might just have to open up the Discord. In fact, that's what I'll do. Nakbo, you read my mind. Ooh, I'm good at mind reading, am I? Ha! I was just about to mention it. Yeah, man. So I'm on my screen, which you just can't see because it's just my big old coupon over here. That's what we call it in Scotland sometimes, a coupon, your face. You were chatting about it in the technical analysis thing, so I'm just going to bring that up now for people to see here, right? So, ooh, I'm right in everybody's way. So what were you talking about? What were you talking about? Let me just kind of zoom on in a bit, in fact. So this came up recently. Where are you, Cachito? I'm in the right page. I am, yeah. It's an extreme, in my opinion, this is an extreme test of the Rocky Outcrop's DMI in progress. And you'd mentioned it previously, hadn't you? I just having to try and find your chart in here. This Discord's available for people who want to get access through the, just go to the Patreon and you'll be able to see this is typical. This is all that stuff that's happened over the last couple of days. Like, this is typical in here that people are like this. I'll just give you a quick tour of the Discord while we're here. There's I Am Not a Cat, hiya buddy. There's S Slug, hiya buddy. Here's people chatting about options. Here you can talk about books. Here you can talk about the harmonics course that we've been running for free inside the Discord or whatever, whatever. There's so much in here. And then of course here's the tea room where everybody gets to just, it's constant. There's just so much in here all the time from people. Today at 10:41 a.m. Scroll up a whole bunch more. Today at 12:01 a.m. So it's cool. It's a wonderful place to be. It's fantastic. You can get access to that, by the way. So anyway, Cachito was talking about this in there, and maybe you've actually written in here as well. No, you did. Oh, add on the 5 minute. Yeah, the 5 minute, also 15 minute. I think. Great, fine, nice one. That's going to make it. So I'll just go check it out and see if I can see. Boom, there it is. Is one of them. And we can just kind of discuss this thing. So people, I'll just look back at a couple of older examples. This one's maybe not so great in a sense. Happened. Here we have it though. This is the extreme test of it, man. So are you looking down to, what were you looking to? 243? Is that right? Or is that what you were looking for? I think so. It's not done it yet, has it? Or has it? Starting to like what I see so far. Golden Cross coming in. It's good stuff, man. This here, look at this for a chart, by the way. Some people call my charts busy. Woomph! I love it, man. I love what you've got on the go there. But it's how inaccessible is that? It's amazing. But actually, if you want to talk to anybody, they'll always talk about stuff. I've got something waiting for my gift inventory. It's probably crap. Right. Yeah, no, I'm too in the live mode to follow along. Right, sorry, let me just get back off this a second. Sorry, everybody. I'm too much in the live streaming mode to be able to dedicate enough of my brain power to reading that thing, to understanding it, to saying it back out the way without falling over myself and then getting crushed on the inside by feeling like, oh no, I'm not doing a good job. And then my self-esteem goes and then I don't want to talk about it anymore and then I get embarrassed. So I'm going to just back off from that for a second and instead just look at the charts myself. Here, there's the opening price of this one. For example, 244. Can we see the prices coming back down there? Now, if they do, then fantastic. And that is a rather extreme. But this is so recent, man. That can't be what you were talking about because that's today. Where the fuck? Which one was it? This can't be these ones. Oh man, I'm sorry. Was it over here? Is it this one? Wow. If it was that one, that's great. When was that? September 12th. Oh, it must be that. Oh, brilliant. Okay, so right. So thanks for everybody's patience. Really appreciated. Let me just bring up the replay tool so we can go back to, say, over here. Right. You're looking at this chart and you're thinking to yourself, I want to trade and make money. I wish there was a tool out there that could tell me, without me having to do anything really at all in the markets, where the prices will go to at some point in the future where I could trade to there and make money. And I'd be very confident of that happening without anything else at all. No other understanding of anything else at all, for example. And if we go up here and look at where this body was, it's maybe actually this you could say this happened straight away, but whatever. Yeah, you could say it happened straight away, but just as in terms of looking at this thing as an example of trying to explain what this tool is, just allow me to continue this one, even though the example might not be perfect. In the future, then you're looking and saying, I think the prices will come back to this point just here because there was this flash on the chart and they've gone way off and then boom, they come back down to that price point later. And like you've got that, and then it's after that it does whatever it's going to do anyway. It's that type of thing. That's what the tool's for. And we've got other examples out there at the minute of it. So BlackBerry is one I think that we're looking for a resolution on. Did we get it eventually? Not quite yet. We're still looking to see if this thing will come down to 253 at the minute. So it's 53 minutes after the hour. That's not that one. Or is it? Nah. Where is it? Damn it. The best play would have been to short it on the way back down. Yes! It would have been. Rocket Crop. Too long didn't read. September 11th at 5:30. Thank you, man. That's thank you, man. I'll just go take a look. There's a BlackBerry one as well, and I wrote it on the charts at the time. I'm pretty sure it's BlackBerry. Was it BlackBerry or was it MMAT? I don't know. It's hard for me to remember this off the top of my head. But there's plenty of this sort of thing, and we're developing it together. Okay, so we're about 50-50 in terms of, do people understand what it is? Do they not understand what it is? This is a tool that we're developing together as a community. You got people like Kachito out there, proactive trader, actually, proactive in the markets, participating, and looking at the charts and using this tool to say, will the prices go back to there? Now, we don't need to explain the reasoning behind it or the math or what the indicator, that the original indicator that it's built on, etc. I don't need to explain any of that. I can just say to you that if you find a flash on the charts, that you might see the prices going back to the price at which the subsequent candle, the first non-flash background candle, opens on. You might just find that, and we've been looking to that for a wee while. And over here on Cardano, it was 5-minute chart, and it was 11th of September. 11th of September, and it was about 6 p.m. on 11th of September over here. Okay, let's just see. 11th September 11th at like 5:30. There's one at 9:45. There's that. So just mark this in because this is pretty extreme. This 5-minute time frame. Let's just see if this is a thing still as well. And this is on all time frames too. So it's quite, you know, we're trying to work out at the minute still even if this possibly works on all time frames because we just don't know. We just don't know yet. We're doing this together. Wow. Holy fuck. You know, can you imagine if I'd have been able to get in a time machine and go back to you on the 11th of September at that time and say, look, the prices are 250 at the minute, but you're going to get an opportunity to short this, and you could have shorted it wherever and just kind of waited, and it played out ultimately in the end, even knowing as well from here that you're going to get a second bite of that cherry, that you could have like shorted it here and then like, oh, there's more to short, I'll short that there for that one, take profit on that move, and then still take profit on the move down below anyway. That's remarkable. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking. Hopefully people got a bit of a better idea about what it is that we're talking about there, right? Let's go back and check on our pals GME and that, and we'll and I'll try and spend some time talking about the fundamentals of TA today, and talk a little bit more about things. I've talked a little bit about support and resistance so far today, and that's kind of what I wanted to kind of cover. Just support and simple, just levels, playing off of levels. That's what I wanted to talk about today, was just playing off of levels. Yeah, so that's basically all I wanted to talk about today. So let's see if I can do that at some point, just a bit. The GME price action coming up to this green line. This is a level that we've identified, a support and resistance level. And we talked about it at the start of the show, like the 197. Well, the prices went as high as 196.29. You know, having closed at 190, they were up at 196.29. Didn't quite push past that 197 area to go up and try in 200. So that's what we're looking to on that one. That's that support and resistance level. And we're up there now. I am anticipating us to be able to go in and do all of this. I'm a little bit concerned that we still got that gap left on the chart on the 5-minute. You know, it's only the 5-minute time frame though. I'm sure we'll see it getting filled in pretty soon. Not the 30-minute, not the 1 hour, not the 2 hours, not the 3 hours, not the 4 hours. Oh, and the 4 hours is filled in, right? So it's yeah. It's not like a gap that I really want to focus much energy on, but I will be aware of it being there. Something that could get filled out in the afternoon session today, for example, if we don't manage to break the $197 and $200 area today. AHT, cool. The picture is in the TA section for that fill. Oh wow, it's in there as well for that fill. So I mean, like, this is, thank you, Christy. This is the sort of thing that we do in the Discord, right? People may need an explanation of what a flash looks like. Sorry, right, okay, of course. Yeah, of course you would. See this area. This is the DMI. This yellow line on mine, and you can color it any way that you like, is the positive line. This pink line on mine, and you can color it any color that you like, is the negative line. This line here, which is blue, and then becomes orange, and becomes red, and becomes orange, and becomes blue, and becomes orange, and becomes blue, working back the way, it changes color. That's called the ADX, and that shows you the average directional strength, right? The average directional strength, we'll call that. It's ADX. X in that sense actually stands for index or whatever, but look, we'll call it average directional strength or average directional movement. And this line is going to inform the background. When there's another color that this line turns to. You can see it's blue, orange, red. And I'll just take away the other lines so that you can see this even more clearly. Blue, orange, red, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, red, white. Almost white hot in here. And if this thing is showing you that there's a relatively strong trend has been happening. If this is showing you that there's a, not quite sure if there's a trend. If this red bit is showing you that there's chop, question mark, trend, question mark, question mark, trend, chop. You've also got this bit down here, and this is where there's such an extreme amount of strength, such an extremely low amount of strength that it starts to become like the 20-year drought in California, and everyone's like, it's got to rain sometime or whatever, or in Nevada or whatever. You know, it starts to become like the San Andreas fault. Okay, it's like at this point here, so little has happened that you can be sure that something's going to happen soon, right? If you like as well, this is the it's been 10 days since an injury sign inside the factory, which is a really dangerous factory, you know, or whatever, right? This shows you this. Now, when this for me, I started drawing it in around about 12 or 13, but when it gets under this particular level, so it's below 12, then it puts on a white background, and you can see there's this big white background here in the charts. Now, this will happen from time to time. Here's a white background, here's a white background, here's a white background. I'm calling that a flash. And you can see at this point here, there's we've gone into the white territory and just a little bit deeper. You know, you can get this white territory happen from time to time, but just a little bit deeper, okay? And if you like to experiment with this and change the numbers of it, you can. I've got a thing here for it. Inputs. Volatility zone level, I've set it to 12. So when it's below 12, you can set it to 11. So it's below 11, 10, 9, 8. I don't know why that didn't update though. Oh, okay, my code's broken. Oh no, it is updating. It is updating. Yeah, I don't know what that was about. So anyway, you can see you can change that to different numbers, and then you're going to get different readings all the time. I've set it to a specific number, and here it is here, and we can see that there's a flash. Now what we do is we look at the charts at a time when the flash is ended. So you can take a vertical line, and this is again something which has been invented on this channel by me, and it's been developed by us together, and is not anything that any other YouTuber, any other trader in the world has ever spoken about in a public forum ever before. And as far as I'm concerned, I invented it. I don't know any different. Then you can look at the price action, and you can say with a good degree of certainty that the prices will return to the price at which it left off from. Now, this so often happens where it's immediate, and you're not getting the perfect long-term amazing buy signal that's going to make you money over the period of 2 months with a massive 50% change in price. No, I'm not necessarily. There's no guarantees with this. This is something that's made by a real person in real conditions in the real world for real people to use, not some fantasy textbook bollocks. And what you do is then you look towards, say, the opening price of the following candle. So this is going to be the candle that these things are on. So we can see here, that was where that was. It obviously got filled in quickly, but we can also use these things to identify pivot points in markets. I look at it and say this is where the market makers have maybe needing to see to get a square up in their account. This is an insight into the sort of the functionings behind the economies at the back end. So anyway, on this particular chart, this GME isn't brilliant for these flashes over the last 6 months. It just hasn't been. You've got quite a few on this time frame, but we had one though that was at 177.77. What time frame was that on? Because it was a really good one, and this is the one that kind of in a way proved it to people. Yeah. So that was on a very small time frame that I started looking at initially, and you can see here on the larger time frame that this one over here is just as a non-issue. Over here it was like part of a volatility thing, and actually, you know, that there was very, very little in the grand scheme of them. But there was this one that came in. This happened, and this was filled on the 7th of July 2021 on a stream when people were very, very kind to me, and it was the first time I ever earned over $700 doing a stream on YouTube. It was really, 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 really lovely day where everybody was super nice to me, And thank you so much for that, by the way. It'll live long in my memory, as in forever, the rest of my life. Anyway, we were talking about this at the time and saying, could we see the prices come back down to this? Now, I'd spoken about this to people like on the way up to $350. I'd spoken about it as being like, well, hey, we're developing this thing that we're trying to do here, you know, where we're looking to see, will the prices return back to this level here? And of course, 7th of July, what do we see? They went down to it exactly. Now, we did see the prices move on past it. That's okay, but that's not the point. The point is that when the prices were, we saw it at 177, you know, and then the prices went up to twice that. They went up to twice that. They went up 100%, you know, pretty much. Maybe they went up 90%, whatever. They basically doubled. And then they had to come back down to that area. Now, I wasn't recommending that people trade this thing or anything like that. That isn't what we do with this, but I was just showing you, you know, that's what that is. That's what that is. Shit, this is going to be a pull. So just another poll in there. The last one came in at the results were 43% of people said yes. Hopefully that's gone up. Please vote again. Right, I've just spent the last, you know, 10, 15 minutes or whatever, I don't know, 20 minutes explaining this thing. So I know it's extremely complex and that, but if you could vote again just so we can see if they've got a better idea, that'd be cool. AHT. This is the current situation with AHT that we're looking at. By the way, to everybody, I'll be tuning out of here in 23 minutes. I'll be tuning out in 23 minutes. Just so everybody knows, it's 7 minutes past 3. I'll be tuning out in 23 minutes. So, that's the plan currently. That's the plan currently. I actually would really like to make a cup of tea. I'm going to look at this for 2 minutes, and at 10 past 3, it's 8 minutes past at the minute. So, you know, at 10 past 10, I'm going to go and make a cup of tea and then come back over. So just a couple of minutes here. AHT, previously in the run up to this area, they had this wedge identified with these two yellow chopsticks. I'm looking at the wrong bloody camera all the time. Sorry about that, everybody. Keep looking at the wrong camera. I'm looking at that one instead of this one. In 2 minutes, I'm going to make a cup of tea. We've got these two yellow chopsticks. You can see yellow chopstick here, yellow chopstick up there. They formed a wedge around the price action, which then broke out and was kind of retested here, and then we moved sideways a little bit. There's this other yellow line here. Kind of, is this the neckline of a Head and Shoulders? Is it fair to call this area at the top the neckline? You know, probably not really. It's more, the Head and Shoulders is more like this here. I'm actually surprised at myself for how well I was able to change that Head and Shoulders tool and it worked, because I really hate this tool. If you've watched this show long term, you know that I dislike this tool intensely because of how fiddly it is. Anyway, that was some skill. So this could be a Head and Shoulders. So maybe if we see the prices breaking up above this 1550 area, then we're on for that. I would recommend caution in this zone between these two, this zone between the neckline and the kind of the where I'd previously identified that neckline as being, because really the pivot point for us is going to be in there at 16 cents, $16.20 or so. And then we maybe get the measured move. Where that's going to take us to is up towards this target of $19. Now, I could probably do a better job of sort of measuring that out instead of just kind of guessing at that. So let's just see. Oh, bang on. Wow, amazing. Bearing in mind that this horizontal line that I'd drawn in here was drawn in as I was looking to identify levels on the chart and not drawn in as a result of that Head and Shoulders move over there. So it's actually, and tell you what, this line here of the wedge, if I pop that over to here, you'll see as well, lines up perfectly. So this is the exact structure. This is a diagram of where we are right now with regards to this chart. 1 hour time frame, and Bad Mama Jama is correct on this. I remember seeing this last night. 1 hour time frame. Wait, where is it? No, you've got extended hours on BMJ, right? That will be what this is. Let's just pop this on here. DMI. What? What? Eh? Sorry. Ah, right. Yeah, so you've got it on the extended hours. I have not researched this. This is something we're developing together. I don't know if extended hours fuck it or not. That's something that we're looking into. We're going to have to look into, damn it, over time ourselves. So if I go back down to the regular one, it's not got that flash on that 1 hour. It has one over there, but there's somewhere else. I'm sure, man, that I saw a flash. Yeah, 15-minute time frame. We're seeing flashes. Let's just see if this thing has worked out for us at all recently. There's that one, and of course it did. And then here's this one. And, well, the next candle's down here. So could we see it coming back down to test 1428? Bollocks. It could happen. Not ideal for the head and shoulders idea if that actually happens, but this is just a 15-minute time frame. So this is another thing. It's like, do the flashes on the low time frames need to be filled? Is it the low time frames? Is it the big time frames? You know, what are the rules of this thing that we need to find this out ourselves together, because nobody else is going to tell us. We're inventing this ourselves, and when we've figured this out ourselves, we'll be the only ones in the world that know. We'll be the only ones in the world. Right? The only ones. Nobody else will know, just us. And the people who, you know, copy us and tune in and watch my show and then use it as their own stuff. Could we see that happen? I wonder. Thank you, Kenton, for becoming an early supporter. That's really kind of you. 4 hour Rocky Outcrop. Have a look at the 4 hour here and see, have we got another flash? Yes, we do. And where's this one? Is this one even a different sort of place? It's the same. Okay, so so the 4 hour and the 15-minute have got flashes which are different. Wait, that's kind of done that one in a sense, right? At 1467, it's like it's all eyes on whether or not we go back down to that piece again. If we don't actually take out the low though at 1421, then we're all right. So this is like sailing is super close to the wind. Like, we know that going down here would suck. Going down under 14 would suck. Can we sail close to the wind and get that and then move up the way? You know, and is this the type of edge that this is going to give us in the market, where we've got like complete fractional control over the markets? I mean, could we do that? That would be amazing. All flashes need to be filled. Yes, man, all flashes need to be filled. That's kind of the basis that I'm operating off as well at the minute, man, Christy, as well. I feel the same, you know? Change between extended hours and regular. Really, on this one. It's really annoying how slow this is being. Oh, interesting. Oh, and that's there as well. All flashes get filled. Man, I mean, see if all flashes on all time frames, if all flashes on all time frames on extended and regular hours and everything else, and all of them all get filled eventually, then that's insane. Some of them, it's like the chats that we've had about it are that it's kind of like gaps on the charts, but better. It's like gaps, but better, because it's more guaranteed to get filled in a gap. Seems statistically, it looks like it's got a higher chance of being filled in a gap. That and that you're getting you're getting them in situations where you don't get gaps, you know? So you've got a better chance of it going there, and less people are looking at it. Brilliant, excellent. More people understand it than did before. That's perfect. Cool. I'm going to go make a cup of tea. I'll be back in 5 minutes to kind of wrap up the show and all that sort of stuff. And we'll do anything else. I can let it drag on a little bit extra today. I just want to have a cup of tea. I don't care. I'm not going to wait for another 15 minutes because I've done this before. I mean, last week I had a show where it was going really, really great the whole way along, and I was standing up. And then I had this tired thing, and it was almost like the last 15 minutes of the show undid all of the good that the previous hour and 45 minutes had done. You know, it was kind of like that. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to go make a cup of tea, and I'll be back in 5 minutes. I've just put the music up a little bit louder or whatever. Oh, the music stopped. I'll put on some other music, and you can tell me if it sucks or not. Unlock 1,000 free tracks. Free Dream Pop. Ooh, Dream Pop. Surrealists. Ooh, Surrealist by Giovanni. Nice album cover and all that stuff. Let's see if it's any good. Back in a second. I'm going to boil a kettle. Kind of sucks so far, I have to say. I don't know. Bit crap. Back in a couple of minutes. Tea time with Rocky, that's what it is. Thank you so much to everybody. Smash that like, peeps. Thank you so much. Not gonna be tea's hot when it comes out the kettle, by the way. Note to self. Great. If anybody wants to ask any questions, by the way, be it whatever, music is louder again. Aye. Turn it down a bit. Right. If anybody wants to ask any, that song's shite. I'm turning it off. I don't know. Maybe you liked it, but I hate it. Shut up. Right. So yeah, if any of you want to ask any questions and chat about stuff, AHT is doing really well, by the way. I mean, at $15.16. I'm quite glad to see that. I'd rather it didn't fill in that gap. You know, it's kind of funny. I've got a Popperian, like Karl Popper. I'm going about this the right way. I'm not doing this from the point of view of confirmation bias. I would rather see the prices not fill in that gap and be like, oh, okay, this Rocky Outcrop indicator doesn't work all that great all the time, whatever. But instead, I keep on finding it does work, you know. And that's the thing. I've got anything but confirmation bias on this. Being very, very, very scientific about it. Also doing it peer reviewed, you know, peer reviewed throughout the entire thing. Instead of like coming up with this stuff all in secret and then publishing a book and talking about it and trying to sort of, you know, sell the idea like that after the fact. And people need to put faith in me, put faith in yourselves. Instead, how about that? I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, nice one. Girl in the yellow. What's this? Girl in the yellow dress. It's been a while since I've seen you around here. I'm going to get a cup of tea too. Good. Nice one. Observe thyself. Cheers. Native Flight. Wee, cup of tea. Ken Rexfield says, thanks for teaching the DMI. I can feel a small wrinkle growing in my super smooth brain. That's it's probably too much, you know. I wanted today to do to be real, talking about the fundamentals, you know, fundamental things about trading, you know, fundamental stuff, just like horizontal lines and kind of like looking at the charts and trying to understand how you might interact with them, and things to try and make it easier for people to do that sort of thing. If anybody wants to ask me about any particular stocks, then now's the time to do it. If anybody wants to ask me any sort of particular questions about, like, you know, what do you think of what do you think of the recent earnings, or do you think about some rule, or What do you think about that float number? Blah blah blah. I'm seeing people talking about the consolidated audit trail now at last, and saying that potentially the reason for this discrepancy in the float number is to do with the consolidated audit trail, and it'd be great if that was the case, but you know, I'm waiting for sort of official type of announcements about this sort of thing for why the float number would be 250 million on GME when we know that the float is actually closer to 40 or 50. So closer to 50, isn't it? So yeah, that's an interesting thing. If anyone wants to talk about it, we can talk about that. Would you mind taking a look at me? Absolutely not. 23andMe is a popular stock. Ms. A, for example, looks at it, and we've come back for a test of the 236. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We've not gone up to our targets up there. That's not happened, evidently. The bullish divergence hasn't seen us get a move yet. This here is hidden bullish divergence. Yeah, we've got like hidden bullish divergence in here as well, with this most recent price action. So that's happened. I would rather be seeing this thing up higher, obviously, but it has come down. Ms. A missed out on an order because Fidelity screwed her over, or not Fidelity. Not sure who it was. Sorry, or eToro. She tried to get in at some point. Would have been a good trade on that day. It would have been a good trade on that day. Where was it? Just here, I think, was where she tried to get in, and the prices then went up a wee bit. Now they dropped back down, so presumably that order has been got, or else it was cancelled at the time. So I wonder how that worked out for her. I wonder how that worked out for you, Ms., if you're watching. What am I looking at here? Oh, right, so this has happened. Yeah, I mean, this is a buy point for me, right? Just so you know, this would be it's easy enough to manage your risk at this point. I mean, you're really looking at something similar, more along these sorts of lines. That's what you're looking at. You can obviously take some profit off there at whatever stages along the way, you know, and absolutely manage your risk by moving your stop loss up as the trade goes or whatever. But that would be that's what I'm looking at, by the way, with this one. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. In terms of the broader picture, and can we have like big moves, etc. on this? You know, yeah, we can. What are we looking at in terms of the broader picture? We're looking at a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. We're looking at a neckline in here, and then we're looking at the potential for it to go up towards the golden pocket here, and a move up towards $10. That would just be like the start, and that would be the start of something fairly special. We'll have to be able to start looking to trend up the way. So there's a lot of potential here for us still on this one, but we've not got any strength of trend at the minute. Naturally, that's what you'd expect to see during a head and shoulders. So there's that. There's that. What was the other thing that I was looking at recently? Was it AHT that I talked about I talked about this last night for a bit about the yeah, one of the things I like to look at, by the way, another little tip for people. Again, this is not beginner stuff. I find it very hard to give beginner tips because they don't really occur to me as being tips, to be perfectly honest with you. But here's a tip for you. You can see here, shoulder, head, shoulder, and this is during this phase in the market, resulting in the head, the head and right hand shoulder becoming the right hand shoulder and head of the head and shoulders. I know that people who are new to technical analysis will struggle to follow along with what I'm saying just now. A little bit of a sort of head and shoulders type thing here, a slanted angle on the RSI, not perfect, but you know, and seeing that in advance of a head and shoulders is something that I typically like to see. So just real quick before we go off here, you've got price action at the top, and you've got your oscillator in here, and I like to see on the oscillator something like this. So you'd have a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder as the prices are doing their thing. And you've got a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, and that the the right hand shoulder, the left hand shoulder comes in at the head on the oscillator. That the head comes in at the right hand shoulder on the oscillator, and that the right hand shoulder comes in at a breaking of a support and resistance level or a horizontal level on the RSI itself or whatever. That's something that I really like to see in terms of head and shoulders. It's something that I don't talk about an awful lot on the channel because you're looking for particular conditions, etc. But that's just something that's worth bearing in mind and points out, and it's something that's going to, that under those circumstances might be intriguing for people in the future if they know that that's a thing to look to. Let's just see how the chat's doing. Why? How about that uranium though? That's right, Salamander. Thanks about that. Uranium. 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 Wow, uranium's up a bit today. Is that uranium? This is the wrong chart. This is the wrong chart. UXC though is what I'm looking for. Am I just on the wrong time frame or something? It is. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, I guess this is what I was looking for. Whoops. So yeah, uranium doing great. Moved up here, big move up. I must admit that I somewhat I don't like this Fibonacci just on here. I mean I do. I like it, but it's not informing me as to what's going on right now. The high over here at 44 is clearly something to be looked to. This big old gap, will it get filled on there? So that's something to look to. Uranium Futures taking a jump up today, doing what it's done a few times. So just, you know, between these retracement points where we've actually trended, you know, gone up towards, well, not quite as high as the 1618. Why is that orange? Whatever. Where's 1272? There. So, you know, doing a move between our. I'll just actually hold on a second. 1272. Make this orange, and make the 1618 orange. Okay, so between these two orange lines, you know, and we went up there. Just looking again then between the next high and retracement down the way, just so we can see how this is going for us, tracking along with it. Yep, up to the 1618, and then from here to here, beyond the 1618. Interesting stuff. That's a bit of it's a bigger movement. Then looking here and saying, well, you know, this is you know, we could easily see this run on towards 2.24 or even the 2618 in order to try and burn off this divergence, you know, or burn it off to try and supersede the previous highs, to really do something like that. This is a speculator's market as much as anything, really. But I would say that I personally anticipate in this mode here retracement from here, which coincides with the kind of 2 points here of bearish divergence. Perhaps we'll get a third one, etc., on the way here before we get a sort of correction. And that's on currently. Obviously, anywhere at the meantime, and the DMI for a pullback would be divergent as well. And class B kind of for the stochastics, but right there for us to get a turnaround at this point here would be like no real surprise to me. We've got that gap to fill in, etc. You know, I want to be super positive about it, but this is just you know where we are now. It would have been nice to have looked for a move up towards this point before markets opened, had I remembered that this is something that I'd actually wanted to look at. In fact, wait a minute, this opened before I went live, didn't it? Just 1 second. Because this is a futures contract on CBOE. I think this starts at 7:30 EST as opposed to 8:30. Whatever. right? Whereas other companies that are in there in the uranium thing, like I can't remember what they called, like SPOG or some crap like that. There's a few of them, but I can't remember what any of the uranium companies are, the ETFs. Just have a wee look and see if there's a uranium, global X uranium ETF. There we have it. It's doing the same thing. As you can see, by the way, here's your uranium ETF, and it's not the same chart, strictly speaking, as the futures chart, but it's not a million miles away. And the interaction then between this and the futures is why I would be looking at the futures for my own sort of like why I would be looking at the futures. Don't know what any of this says. Open run, open pull, open pull. Confusing. Excuse me. High or low? Don't know what I was talking about in there. Oh, I'll do is higher lows and highs and all the rest of it. Well, we've gone on again. Oh, managed to save the 236 there in the end. From where it would have been. Sorry, this is where it would have been. So we managed to just get there. Sorry, that wasn't clear as I was speaking. That's what I was meaning. It was that slightly off like there, but I mean, I was looking at it going, oh, so that's what happened. Right. Yeah. Well. So if we do have a pullback, then I'd be hoping to see the prices, bounce off of $20. $20 is my best buy price on this one at the minute. We've already had a move up the way. $20 is the best buy price on this one at the minute. Let's have a look from. Well, just might as well look in terms of the all-time highs to all-time lows. Are we going to get a 236 at some point? Have we already got one? We have already. And where's the 382? We're at the 382 as well. Pushed on past it. Oh, almost at 50%. 31.50. Well, if we're going to run on a little bit higher, then that'll be towards that 31.50 price point on this doodah. It's the same sort of chat, and then I'm looking for that to have that pullback, just a healthy pullback or correction, which you'd anticipate in these sorts of circumstances. That would be more or less what I'd be looking for in that. We're at all the threes my time. That's the 33 minutes past 10 your time. Rock Aircraft, with regards to the DMI, would you be able to take a quick look at IMGN on the daily? IMGN on the daily. If I've understood properly, we can expect to hit 750 again. 24. This is 24 chart. Just to be sure, just to show you. Here's daily. Just so you can see with my background thing, I'm on the right guy. Doesn't make a difference. Wait, there's that 601. So you must have extended hours on, bud. So I'll just keep looking though. But that's been done. This one was done already. That's the daily time frame. Let me just put on extended hours. I keep hitting the wrong button. You can't see extended hours on the daily time frame on TradingView. That's what's annoying me about this thing. So no, because I've got this set and have I changed my numbers? Have I got the numbers wrong on this one? That says 12 there. Let me just check around a wee bit here. Just quickly find where $7 could be coming in at. Have I got this ticker wrong? In fact, thanks, Rocky Outcrop. Oh, you're welcome, Sal. Thanks for the reminder for the tea. IMGN. IMGN. Right, that's the right one. This is there. Let me just go 1 minute up the way. It's not going to be the 1 minute, but could it have been here? 568. No, that's not what you're talking about. 5 minute. Let me see. DMC 17. If you want to clarify with me real quick, because it's not on the 24-hour time frame. 565. What retest levels are we looking for Cardano? That'll be the last one that I do, Chris Sweeney. Thanks so much for that. That'll be the last thing that I take a look at. I really do appreciate that donation there, by the way. Super appreciated. 1 hour time frame. It's been done anyway. 4-hour time frame. No, pal. I've not explained it well enough for you. I'll have to explain it again better at some point. Maybe there's somebody out there in the chat who is in that divide between where you're looking and where I'm looking at, and your understanding and my understanding of it, that could explain it. You know, what I don't understand about what you don't understand. I don't know what you don't understand about this for you to have said that. Zoom into the. Okay, thanks, Rocky. My error, I guess. No. I don't know. It's my error in terms of explaining it, matey. I'll do a better job explaining it next time. Christy, zoom into the. I would love to zoom into the. But I don't know the end of your sentences. Let's go take a look at the levels for Chris Sweeney. What would you be looking for? What retest levels? Well, we're talking about a couple of things on this one. Here's ADA, whatever chart this is. This is some other one, right? Bitfinex, fine. We can look at it on Bitfinex. Well, Bitfinex pricing. I don't know if the Bitfinex pricing is tying in with the other ones. Have a quick look here. We'll look at it on right now. That's 235 Kraken right now, 234. All right. I've got a little line in here on Kraken. Is this the one that Kachito was talking about? Is that from the 11th? It is indeed. Oh, that's cool. Let me just get this chart up properly. Yes. That's maybe where I was earlier on, drawing it on. I don't know. But anyway, that's so great that happened. Bang. And it went down to do it too. This is one of the things that makes me think like that this is one of the things that makes it so real, you know? It's like it went right to it, like, and then it effed off. Like how would you how is that, you know, the first time it comes and it's straight away, you know? Interesting stuff, isn't it? It's kind of a bit of an insight into somebody's book. It's an insight into somebody's book. Anyway, so yeah, how would we do this? We're at 235 here at the minute. Let's just zoom out a bit here. Well, actually, you know, there's these things like retest levels. So we've done that one already. Okay, 1 hour. Oh, just a rejection there of the cross from the positive. Interesting. Cardano to me looks like if it doesn't pull its thumb out, then it could easily go down a bit further. Let's just look at this real quick and say that coming in to test off of this knot of price action in here would be fairly typical, having seen what is obviously a bearishly divergent top. Right, that's going to be bearishly. Yep, of course. Right, so we've got this bearishly divergent top in here at this point, then a failure to recover from the high to this low. When we draw in another Fibonacci here, from that high to that low, that we failed to recover up above these key areas. You know, we failed to recover. I mean, you'd obviously need to take it out, but we've only actually come up as high as the golden pocket, really. You know, about 786 and then pushed away again. So there's that danger. So we could obviously drop on down the way, but I mean, I'm looking for this to be positive, right? I am looking for this to be positive, but I'll also kind of point out that if this were to be a failure to take out our highs, right, and then for it to be the end of an upward trend in the short to medium term, excuse me, ambulance outside, then you'd be looking to something along these sorts of lines in terms of the harmonics class, because that would be a butterfly. Sorry. If you're looking for it to, sorry, if you're looking for it to, it would actually go a little bit higher in that circumstance, 786, because that would be a butterfly, so it would be taking out your X point. So you'd be looking for it to come up to the 1272, something like that, whatever, in and around about this area. So 333, all the threes is what we'd be targeting. Also, so I am still kind of looking, you know, even if this were to turn out to be negative and get a retracement thereafter, I'm still looking for this to get up towards 333, etc., and try that. That's what I want to see. But it's going to be a case of whether or not we take out our previous highs, etc. So looking for a retest. If we continue to, if we're in this zone here, and this here is going to be another upward channel of some sort, then this here where we're at now is the retest zone at the 236. If we fail and we take out these lows, so if we drop down below 225, then I'm anticipating a retest of $2. I'd be looking at that as my sort of risk management zone. Then, of course, we're looking to have like movements up the way here. We could anticipate something anywhere between the sort of the 270s and the 280s, 290s as your next target for you in terms of towards the top side. If you're just to be in this region here, so looking out for fake out territories, etc. At 225 down to the move down towards $2. If that is the case, that's obviously where that previous wick was. So you'd really want to see a turnaround at this zone here. Really definitely would. Movements down here signal that you're going down another 10%, and you'll find that 50% is 10% away from the 382, and that the 618 is then at 150. So you'd be moving from 180 to 150, and that's 20%. So you'd be doing 10%, and you'd be going 20%. And then if you were to drop down to the 130, it's another 20%. So you wouldn't want to be losing out on these percentage moves in terms of retests. There's certainly an ability to manage your risk in there fairly easily in terms of not exposing yourself to that risk. So that would be how I'd be looking at things going beyond the 225 to $2 to down the way, and how that would work for me in the meantime, with a view to hopefully getting something like this happening for us. If we did retest down the way towards those lows, if we did come down towards these lower areas, then I'm looking for that if we're going to look for a butterfly. In the meantime, though, what I'd like to see is for this to just continue to go up the way. It's found support so far. It's not cracked too far down necessarily. The strength of trend isn't quite there on the negative side. We could be about to turn around, but this is negative. This is talking about catching a knife, essentially, at a low. But that's what oscillators look like at lows. It's only if you're looking to just simply, the easiest way to trade is identify an area, identify another area the price go to. When the prices are going to it, you're not trading in this zone. Instead, when the prices move away, you're trading in this zone. And when the prices move down towards their target, you're not looking to take profit in here. No. Instead, what you're looking to do is to take profit in here. And then as they come down towards that zone, maybe they go up, in which case you can trade to here, up to here, to wait to see how that plays out. Or maybe they go down, in which case you're looking towards your next level. And then you're looking to trade it from here to here without actually needing to test the levels. So if you're wanting to trade between levels, then the easiest way to trade consistently and reliably is to take chunks between the levels instead of relying for that entire move. So that would be that. Cool. Quarter past. That was an extra 15 minutes then I thought I would be on for. That feels 17. Yeah, that looks like it. Wait, is there something? Tristan, do you think it's valid? Oh, you're chatting to each other about it, and Christy would know. I would listen to Christy about it at the minute, right? He knows. And I would listen to Cachito about it at the minute. These guys, both of them, they're here in the chat right now. They both know about this type of chat. Yes, I was on Kraken, says Cachito. That's right there. So, sorry, I was on another call. Ignore, since you did Cardano earlier on. I'll watch it. Well, c'est la vie, say the old folks. Fuck. Spilled a bit of my tea there. Right. Cool. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. I'll just do the old reverse roll call jazz and everything else, because that's important to me as ever. Thank you then to well, actually, thank you to Katie Babes, by the way, who donated $10 during the night. So, you know, thank you. That was really nice of you. Thank you so much for that. It's really kind of you. Donated during the night so that I would see this before going live this morning. And thank you so much. $10. Then Daniel Assange, $5 a couple hours ago. Sally Mander, $5 Canadian to turn down the music earlier. Thank you so much for keeping me right, Sal. Really do appreciate it. You're a lovely woman. And then we had early Jo became a member earlier. Thanks so much for that. Danko Bar became a member, but I think that might have been a refresh, you know, like, or whatever. Kenton Schindler became a member, early supporter. Thanks so much for that. And Chris Sweeney put in 10 quid for that Cardano chat and then told me not to bother at the end of it. So thanks so much. That's today's show. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll be back again tomorrow as ever to continue on doing what we do here, which is, of course, well, what is it? What? How would you sum it up? How would you sum it up? How would you sum up what we do here? Man, D, what we to continue doing what we do here, which is just to create a community of people who can help rise each other up. A rising tide. We are the rising tide, right? We're the rising tide. It lifts all ships. Thanks to all the people who've tuned in today for the first time, because you're now on that rising tide. Thanks so much. Shout out to everybody else who has tuned in again and again and again, because you are that rising tide. Thank you so much. You lift all boats. Thank you so much. Kala, wonderful to see you. Lovely person. I really hope that you're feeling good these days as well. I really do. Wonderful. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see all of you. I'll see you again next time. Jordan, evolve. Yes, that's right. We'll all evolve together. Thanks for creating an amazing community, Rocky. Thank you. Thank you for creating an amazing community. I'm just as privileged as all of you for being a part of what we do here together. Thank you very much. It's without you, there would be nothing. Thank you.